to see those opportunities and see those experiences of other people, that's the thing I love to create. So I think for me, the running gets to be a part of it, but it's really those experiences of creating these events and these magical moments for other people.
I deal with a lot of like I want to do everything. I want to be on the mountain all the time. I want to be trail running all the time. I see people who seem to be doing it all the time. And it's like, do people work? I don't know. How do you balance the desire to be out there and the ability to be out there, within minutes versus sitting on I-70 and battling the traffic? It's right there. How do you think about prioritizing rest and recovery and all the other work that you need to do as well?
Yeah. I think for me, just because I've been an athlete for the majority of my life, and that structure was really built in while I was in high school, finding that balance, the prioritizing and where are you putting on your schedule. Like for me right now, it is waking up at 5 a.m. and between the hours of 6 and 8, I'm doing something active, whether it's at the gym or outside and going for a run, or like tomorrow morning, I'll go up and skin the mountain at 6 a.m. and get that workout in to make sure I get some outside time before I sit down and work for the day. And same thing on the flip side of in the afternoon, is there an opportunity to go outside? And I will say for a lot of my jobs right now, there is a lot of that is built into it too, where I'm leading run clubs. So I am lucky that I get that opportunity to go for a run that is also paid time from work. And I know that's a privilege, and it's so nice at the same time, because I can be like, well, we have to go for a 4-mile run because that's what we're doing for Run Club today.
What does the path look like to professionalize that? So how did you get to a point where you're able to, for work, quote unquote, go for a run?
I think for me, brunch running was really a catalyst that I didn't know overall was going to lead to my life. It was just something on the side. At the time, I was working PR marketing. Within 4 months of the Run Club starting, I did go out on my own and have my own agency. So both of those businesses I built at the same time. And then it kind of just spilled over from there, where I took over as the event producer for the Steamboat Marathon 2 years ago. So 2023 was my first year as the event producer. And one of the things there, especially once I moved up to Steamboat, was how do we continue to grow this event that's been around now, will be 43 years this year, that we can continue to grow this event and grow running in this community, while at the same time, I have been a full-time employee of Lululemon and one of the store managers up here, and within that brand have had a lot of the opportunity to do a lot of community events where we are working out as part of our jobs. And it is establishing a run club up here for the store and bringing brunch running up here as well this year. So for me, it just kind of happened. And I never thought I'd be working in the running space. I ran, but I think for that, it was all of a sudden as brunch running grew and we did pop-ups in other markets and we expanded pre-pandemic to cities like Austin and Phoenix, where it was like, all right, this is now part of the job and I get to run, I get to have fun and get to meet other people. And now I also get to create some really incredible and memorable events. And I think my favorite part of the job still is being at the finish line of races. There's just like standing at the finish line of a race and watching everyone come through. It's like the most magical thing where people are so excited, they're tired, but they're still like, oh my God, the finish line's here. And this year this past year for the Steamboat Marathon, we had a proposal at the finish line and like this guy like planned it all out perfectly. It was waiting there for her. And it was just to see those opportunities and see those experiences of other people. That's the thing I love to create. So I think for me, the running gets to be a part of it, but it's really those experiences of creating these events and these magical moments for other people.
How did it come to be that you're producing the Steamboat Marathon? I've gotten to know Phil and the team at Boulderthon and kind of seeing the inner workings of what it takes to put on a race. And wow, it's impressive. All the details that are required to execute a small race, let alone a large race. So how did that come to be and what's that process like for you?
The Steamboat Marathon is owned by the Steamboat Chamber up here. And 2 years ago, they put out an RFP that they were looking for a new event producer. And
RFP is request for proposal.
Yeah. A friend sent it to me. She was like, this is right up your alley. I think it was also a presentation of being like, you should move back to Steamboat. um, and submitted a proposal and talked with the team and really hit it off with their crew and won the contract. And now it's been renewed for the next few years. And it's been, I think this is a really unique race. It was started by just some local runners back in the day who were like, let's run a marathon. And we closed down Highway 40. So you get to run on the actual interstate, which is also Lincoln and Main Street in town. And to be like, all right, how can I be part of this history? And once the chamber took over the event, because we all know the cost of producing a race is astronomical, and a lot of local races are feeling that. So for an organization that's tourism related to also be able to support the local businesses has been a great opportunity to keep this event around. And all the people that were in my shoes before were amazing resources. And I have an incredible committee that helps support me on race day and leading up in the months to make sure that what we're doing makes sense for our town. And it's a great overall experience. Definitely, it's a labor of love. But I think like for me, a lot of it is how do we make sure to keep local races around for the next 40 something years, especially in today's climate where it is so much harder to produce a local event.
Yeah, and there's a lot of aggregation of events, and a lot of buying of events by, that's not a knock against them, Lifetime and Active and Ironman, looking at efficiency and getting more people into their pool and their database to be able to get people to sign up for the races within their portfolio. Yeah. So I'm always curious on the business side of things, but how do you guys operate? How do you ensure that you're continuing to put on a wonderful production that does right by the city and by the runner?
I mean, I think that's the hardest thing, especially in Steamboat. We do have certain limitations. So for the full and the half, we bus runners to the start. As a small town, we only have a certain number of buses. And the road that people are also running on, we can't close it down completely because there's no other way for people to get to or from anywhere. And also it's part of it is on the interstate. And if I-70 closes, Highway 40 is the alternate route. So we do have all these contingency plans. So yes, we do have a capacity. Our race is very close to selling out every single year for the most part, mainly because we just have certain restrictions that we're not New York City. We can't have tens of thousands of people on our roads. We also don't have the police staff that can be at every intersection because we just don't have that many people. So I think for us, it's really focusing on how do we create the best experience? We rely a lot on the local volunteers and people that live along the race course that come out to support and put up aid stations or be out there just to cheer people on, because we can't have spectators on the first 20 miles of the course. Wow. For the marathon, just because the road's narrow, there's no shoulder. So really relying on the people that can be in their driveways and establishing those relationships with the community, I think that sets us apart, where it is a very community-driven event. And the majority of our sponsors and partners are all local brands. And really having that ingrained to be like, if you're coming to run the Steamboat Marathon, you're going to feel what it's like to be a part of the Steamboat community. And even on the flip side of that, with the brunch run, it's very similar, where keeping it a little bit more intimate in some regards. I think that's one of the biggest things for local event producers is we can't always go big and bold. We have to go create more smaller experiences for a more limited group of people. And how do we make sure the experience really outweighs that? Because it is lots of times your local races might be more expensive than the Ironmans or the rock and rolls or whatever those other series are, because they do have the opportunity to order tens of thousands of medals even. So their cost per medal is less than what a local races might be. And I think that's one of those things, especially on the consumer side of looking at, how can you participate in races across the board, ones that are just local to your community, where you might not even get a medal because they're trying to keep that entry fee really low, to those ones that do go above and beyond. And then also to the sponsors that can help create those experiences too.